Everybody, welcome to Cycle News. We've got a new road test for you today. Today we've just jumped off the 2023 MV Agusta Dragster RR SCS America. Now this bike is limited to 300 editions worldwide, only available here in North America. It takes a lot of inspiration from the Dragster RR SCS, take the America off. So what do you get? It's a pretty special bike, but it's not that different to a Dragster RR SCS. In fact, it's not. It's basically a paint job. So sorry to do a bit of a spoiler alert there for you guys. But look, it's a pretty important bike for MV Agusta, because MV Agusta has had a very long running, I think best 50 years now, 50 years love affair with America and the country of this wide brown land. So the first bike of which was the 750S of 1973, and it'll be 32 years before we got another model bearing the stars and stripes, and that one was the 2005 Brutale 750 America. From there, they came a little bit faster. In 2012, we saw the arrival of the Brutale 1090 RR America. Then in 2017, the Brutale RR America. And a year later, the Dragster RR America. So it's fair to say that the love affair from MV Agusta with the United States is pretty genuine. Okay, so I'm just going to call it the America now because it's got the world's longest name, and every time I try and do it, I keep screwing it up. So the America is going to cost you $28,247 MSRP. Bit of an odd number, I've got to admit, for MSRP. Now, obviously, that is not including your taxes and your dealer charges and your blah, blah, blah that happens when you buy motorcycles in America these days. So what do you get for your money? Well, you're getting a 798cc inline 3-cylinder motor, pumping out 140 horsepower. Now, you can also throw on a Krapovich slip-on muffler, and that will give you an extra 7 horsepower. So nice little gain of power there. You also get the SCS clutch, which stands for Smart Clutch System. Now, if you've ever ridden a recluse clutch on any dirt bike or street bike, let's make them street bikes, then you know what it is. It's an auto clutch. So basically, you never really have to use the clutch. You can use it to select first gear and then dump the clutch, and then nothing happens. The bike doesn't move. So it basically uses engine RPM to disengage the clutch, which takes a bit to get used to, I've got to say. The application of it is not that smooth, especially at really low RPM. You can feel that like sort of bit of a clunk from the clutch. Once you get the thing moving, you get it spinning up, as I say, it uses engine RPM to work. Once that starts to happen, then the engagement and disengagement is very good. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange feeling at first, I've got to admit. It kind of makes a bike basically a huge scooter with manual gears, a bit like a Tiptronic or like paddle shift thing in your car. I don't know, I kind of prefer to have a standard clutch, but that's just me. Interestingly, you can actually change the clutch itself, well, not the clutch, but there's a switch on the SCS clutch where you can just turn it straight into a regular manual clutch. So if that's your game, fair enough. As far as electronics go, you've got 4 riding modes, 2 power modes, cornering ABS, traction control, a quick shifter, wheelie control, cruise control, all the usual stuff, full LED lighting, daytime running lights, backlit switches. Yeah, it's a very nicely put together piece of machinery, as you would expect for a bike of this price and of this engine capacity as well. A steel trellis frame, you've got Marzocchi forks and a Sachs shock. Now sadly, these are not electronically adjustable, something I really would have expected for a bike of this price and of this exclusivity as well. And also you've got Brembo's M4.32 brakes. Now this is a bit of a sticking point for me because, again, a bike of this price and of this exclusivity, I believe firmly that it should be coming out with at least the base model Stylema calipers. I mean, those things have been out for 6 years. I mean, M4.32 has been around for a decade. And it's also got a fairly sort of not nice master cylinder. It doesn't give you a lovely smooth feeling at the lever, something that you would expect. So there's a couple of things that I'm not pumped about with the Dragster SCS. Got other really cool thing. I mean, the styling of this bike is just spectacular. I mean, it is by far, I think, the best looking naked bike pretty much out there. I mean, mind you, I am very partial to a Ducati Street Fighter, and I also do love a KTM Super Duke, but yeah, that's just me. But yeah, I mean, those colors, the styling, the carbon cover on the rear wheel, yeah, that's cool, man. Like it looks awesome. You've also got a nice 5-inch TFT dash, so you can see exactly what you're doing. You can actually change things quite easily now. Like, time was when MV Agusta's dashes were just awful, and now they're a lot better. It still takes a little bit to get used to, like any dash does, but I think if you were to have this in your garage, you would figure it out pretty quickly. So you're pushing a claimed 385 pounds dry weight, so you can probably bump that up to a bit over 400 with a tank of fuel. I don't actually know, because we just did a quick ride on this one. It was just an afternoon ride, so didn't get a chance to weigh it or do any of that sort of stuff. Basically, I can just tell you what the thing's like to ride. It is a very, very focused motorcycle, and by that I mean it's not terribly comfortable. That seat gets a little bit plankish after a while. It's a dragster, it's a super sport derived motorcycle, that engine especially. It's a bike that likes to get ridden hard, and that's the same with basically every MV Agusta motorcycle out there, even things like the Turismo Veloce and things like that. Like, these are not bikes that are very happy sitting in traffic. They get all hot and pissed off, and you know, it's much better to get out into the canyons on this thing and really let the thing have its head. It's got a brilliant quick shifter. The engine on it is really, really good. You know, I mean, it's very hard to fault. It doesn't have a lot of real very early bottom end torque. Again, it kind of changes a little bit with that clutch as well. It kind of masks that bottom end capability of the motor, because it's not like a direct dumping of the clutch, like it's a real long slip, so it kind of masks it a little bit. However, the engine performance, it is, yeah, it's pretty sprightly. Like it really gets up and boogies. You take all your electronics off, you can start pulling wheelies and doing all kinds of silly stuff if that's what you want to do. I've got to admit, I'm really not happy that the suspension is not electronically adjustable. For a bike that's as exclusive as this, man, there are bikes that cost way less than this that have electronically adjustable suspension. And you know, that suspension and brake package, I just think for what you're paying, I think you deserve to have better quality, higher quality stuff than what's currently on there. That being said, you know, once you get into it and really start getting after it, it's quite a good motorcycle. It's not something, again, because it has that kind of harshness at the top of the stroke in both front and rear suspension. You can tune that stuff out over a while, but it's going to take you a decent amount of time to kind of get the balance right. Out of the box, as they are standard, they do have the quite sort of stiff initial high-speed compression once you sort of hit over potholes and things like that. So I don't feel like the suspension is that refined. That's just me. You know, if you're just hopping on it and you're just going for a ride, maybe you may not find it. But I think in the end with these bikes, and this is something that I've had a bit of an issue with MV Agustas over time, they are very beautiful motorcycles, let's be honest. Like, they're gorgeous, gorgeous things. And I approach these kind of reviews really from straight performance point of view, because I think the collectible thing is in the eye of the beholder. If you think it's worth that kind of money, go for it. Go spend your money on whatever you want. If I'm spending 28,000 bucks on a naked bike, I want the best of the best. And at the moment, that MV Agusta does not come with it. You know, you can go and buy a Street Fighter V4 S, which is way more powerful, got just as much, if not more, of the electronics and far, far better suspension and brakes, and it's less. You can also get a KTM Super Duke that's less. Interestingly, MV Agusta said that about 15% of their bikes that they produce all get stuck in living rooms and never even get started. So I don't know, man, if you're gonna, I'd say I'd buy one to look at, but most likely if I had the money to go and spend 28 grand on a naked bike, I'm buying something quick and I'm riding that thing. I'm not going to put it in the garage. I'm not going to put it in the garage and just look at it and polish it and put it in my living room. I might do that with an F4 Lewis Hamilton. That's probably the best looking motorcycle I've ever seen, but I digress. Anyway, that's just a really quick review. Please leave your comments below. Tell me if this is something that you would go out and buy, and if you would you ride it? Would you just look at it? Like, I'd be really interested to know. You can maybe jog some thoughts in my head. All right, guys. Till next time. Take it easy. See ya.